Yes, Healing Hearts TV podcast. We speak live. I welcome you all viewers watching us across the globe. My name is Khalid Kizito. This beautiful morning, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everyone that has just landed on this show and to encourage you to subscribe before even we begin. I want to encourage you to subscribe to these stories. People, wherever you are, people in the States, everywhere in the UK, I just encourage you to subscribe to these stories, because the more we subscribe, more people are getting these stories of edification, more people are getting these stories of, we're not the best, but we believe the little God has given us. You can share it with you. You can share it with anyone else that really needs it. So if really you have something to say or something to add on these conversations, just go down there in the comment section and you put your comment there. Yeah, in the studios today, this morning, I have a friend that I moved with today. She's going to be part of us. It's going to be part of our conversation. I'm going to let her introduce herself, because I miss a name that is really important. Yeah, I'm going to let her introduce herself. Welcome, madam.
Thank you so much, Khalid. Hi guys, my name is Oprah Nkalivo. I'm a law student at Macquarie University. I'm currently in my second year. I'm a youth leader, both in spaces of actual leadership, but even in church ministry as well. So I'm really passionate about young people and seeing that young people get empowered, they reach their next levels of success. And that's just about me. Yeah.
Wow, that's really beautiful. You said you are a law student?
Yeah.
Me too.
Aha.
I'm a law student. That's why you saw a tie. I think you can differentiate a more serious one.
Oh wow.
Than one who's, I'm kidding. I don't know. Today's topic is restoring the shattered soul. That is the topic I think we're going to share. I don't think that is the topic we're going to share. Yeah, this morning I invited Oprah in studios today to basically dive into that conversation, because I believe there are very many lives who need such information, experiences, stories of transformation. I believe when we share these stories, we're not only doing content, but also impacting. Actually, that's the main reason we are here. So I don't know. That is where we're going to start from. Defining really what is a shattered soul. When you hear that word, a shattered soul, I want you to give me your own definition about that.
Yeah. Alright, thank you so much, Khalid. I think I'll start right off from that point. Shattered self, we're speaking restoration and all these different things. You see, as young people, or even generally, we face so many hurdles in life. We get problems here and there, we get challenges, we face a number of things. So we find ourselves losing our confidence, we lose who we are, we lose our esteem. You find that the way a child used to behave in primary, when they enter into maybe secondary and there's all this bullying, or they now go into the world and probably they are working or doing these different kinds of things, they find themselves encountering new challenges, and they start to second guess, question, am I really meant for this? Was I meant to be in the world?
The self-esteem is
you ask yourself so many questions, So now what am I meant to do in life? And when people fail to answer those questions, they end up in states of depression, because as humans, there is this void or gap that we constantly have, and it's filled with our purpose, with who we are supposed to be. That's why when you find a person who is not aligned with where they are supposed to be, they get so much depressed. They tend to become so detached from their families, their neighborhoods, things like that, and they find themselves, losing who they are. But when the fundamental question is, who am I? What am I supposed to do? How can I use?
It's a question of identity.
Pretty much, yes.
You continue.
Yeah.
I'm getting you.
Yeah. So we're talking about identity. I think that is very, very crucial, because when a person loses that is where you start to lose who you are. And now so many winds come blowing. There are certain things that come and want to take you in this direction, other things come and want to take you the other direction, so you become confused. And usually most people just decide to let everything go, and then they just become depressed, they become detached, they become isolated. That's where you have cases of suicide, cases of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, really mental health issues. And those are things that our generation is dealing with in a very critical way today. But if we are able to rediscover who we are and put off these shambles that life has thrown at us, sometimes, because life happens, that's the truth, life happens. But at certain points, it's about neglecting what you hear, neglecting the circumstance, and just focusing and asking yourself, who am I supposed to be? And when you answer that question, you go for it. I think that's where we find fulfillment. That's where we start patching ourselves back together.
Come again. Where do we find fulfillment? I wanted to hear you again. The last statement here you say.
I've probably forgotten. But all I'm saying is, when we find our purpose, when we ask ourselves, what am I supposed to do?
Finding your purpose.
Yes. When we ask ourselves that question, and we probably, even if we don't get the full answer, from A to Z, but you realize, okay, probably I'm good at this, or probably I should try this, then that's enough. That's enough for you to block off everything that you're hearing, your circumstance, the problems you've gone through, and then you just push forward. That will help to restore you, that will help to patch up the gaps, because you find yourself, you find your place in this world. So I think that's something that really helps out.
Yeah, that's really important. I think also to add on that, I'll speak a little bit of our growth. Growing this child, we've been growing in the families we come from, really, because we don't come from the same families. We've grown in families whereby maybe this person a child has not seen love from a parent. We've seen broken families. A family when a mother, maybe they left the baby with the father, or the father left the mother, and the kids, stayed there. This person grows up, grew up in a state whereby maybe you feel you've not been loved enough. I think that is also one of the things that really shatters someone down. And growing up, the addition of bullying you've been talking about, all those things pile up, so they distort you out of order. You end up losing self-esteem, end up losing the other confidence that you have in yourself. So you think you don't matter now. You think maybe you don't deserve anything. So now a time comes, maybe you've grown up, then you're dealing with these problems, like you're not confident. Personally, I faced that so much. I'm not saying that maybe me was loved as a child. I I was loved. My parents loved me so much. My father was so loving. My mother was so loving. But I don't know. Anyway, just out there. I think at first, even in class, I would know the answer. But I used to fear to give answers because I felt I had the wrong answer.
Yeah.
I felt maybe, I was not worthy to give an answer. I was not worthy. I thought that maybe the other kids are more wiser. Yeah, maybe I think also to add on that, talking about the shattered soul.
Which is with all the luxuries, time comes in life and things are just not adding up.
Things are not adding
Yeah.
up. That is basically very true. Because, there is that belief that, if you're born in, what do they call it? First class family.
Probably.
Those first class families, that everything is going to be, aligned itself. And maybe when at home there is money, because of the presence of money. And we've seen very many kids that have been born in those families, and there is something missing, and not adding up, and you find them sometimes the things they need. I've seen kids when at their homes they have, what do they call it? PS. Somebody has born on PS. Every year they get an updated. That means like a centi about week. But you find them really on drugs. You find them when you visit some schools. Anyway, no offense, we're not trying to say that every child of a rich person is like that, but it does not give you an assurance or a guarantee that growing up in a good family or a first class family that things will really work out, and will continue to give you point. It's okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to just
So that's my very point. But even when you're born in, let's say, that luxury, and then life happens, just like say life happens, like you never know, something can happen, and you find yourself hit in different ways. That does not mean that you don't have potential. That does not mean that you're not confident, or that you don't have a purpose, or that you die useless. No. So it's important to rediscover that. Yeah. And even when you're not born in luxury, and then you grow up, and then you're like, now I didn't get education. My parents, no one educated me. Probably I was not loved. I'm already disadvantaged. So you wear that cloth, and you live
wearing that.
Yes, and you live throughout life with that. Yet all of those things, they might be defining, but they are not important. They have no guarantee on your future. Your future changes the day you decide to say, no, this is not who I am. And I think I don't want to give myself a class that has in A or B, but you guys can judge. As in, let's see.
Judge.
Yeah, you can judge. I'm going to give my story, and then you'll see.
Okay.
You'll see how to judge. So let's see. As pretty much very outgoing, very as those kinds of people. Whereby in school everyone knows my name. Everyone knows who I am. Those kinds of students, right from my primary, very outgoing, very
confident.
Yeah, very confident. Things like that. Like those things didn't come hard for me. Sorry for other people.
We used to call them passions.
Really? Okay, you must be old. I don't remember that term in my childhood.
Which schools did you go to?
We went to good schools. Anyway.
You went to King's College?
Oh no, but I went to an equally good school. So
I went to Wood. Maybe you didn't hear that.
Oh no. No.
Sorry. Okay.
Anyway, so as those kinds of kids, people look at you, people want to be like, people like, when they should get her confidence, when they're doing polls, most influential, most outstanding, most those kinds of students.
Look to be one. Me, I was completely opposite to what you are.
Yes, I'll probably share from the two dynamics. So that was me. And let's see. Now fast forward to secondary. As still that is me, and even up to now I think that's my character. That is who God made me to be. I am not meant to be below. I cannot be covered. I cannot be deal. Me, I'm light. That's just who I am. Very unapologetic about it. But coming into secondary school, the first years were really good. Yeah, until I first kids can be mean. Kids can be something else. Mean.
What do you mean by mean?
No, mean like
like a mean. Rather, I'm still on that.
Okay, yes. So as you know when there's
what do they call that thing? That Chipotle thing.
No. As in at their school.
Oh.
So those things of Chipotle, I can't relate.
No. You don't even know appeta?
No. Of course I know it, but then I've never even eaten appeta. Like those things are really okay, I was not in boarding, so I can't relate to that life. I always had good food at home. We didn't eat appetizers.
Didn't eat appetizers?
The food was okay. Anyway, so when you're in school, and I think it's different for different people. For me, it was because I guess I was different, but different in a way that she speaks a lot of English, she walks a certain way. Yes, those things I know Ugandans. I don't know, but there's something about that, the English is a lot.
And English. English, the other one.
The English is a lot. The confidence is a lot. Everything outstanding, everything good. You know, her name is Amang. So things like that used to annoy people. So people, even when a person really does not know you, they judge you. You get, when a person knows nothing about you, they only know like your name. They don't even know your surname, but just your first name. They assume, oh, you are show off. You come from a really rich family, so you're proud.
You have a relationship with Oprah Winfrey.
No, Winfrey. No. Of course not. I am Kalomo.
I guess there is a very hard, but then you got him.
So I got so much judgment from people, even when they did not know me, as this type of person whereby you'd be like on a line for food, like we are all going to eat school food, but you know somebody is at the back of the line. There was a point we were on the line for food, and I think the person behind me did not know as the one in front. So they were backbiting me. So they were like, "Is this girl called Oprah? She's da 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 da," and they were saying all these bad things, you know, about me. And at a point, I didn't really give them so much attention because, you know, I felt like, kids are kids, you know, people have their own reasons to be angry, and every time I was home, you know, as always affirmed and things like that. So, you know, whenever whenever I had people's words, I would let it go. Yeah. But the day it really hit me and I started to think that I have a problem with myself and I should, you know, completely change. Like this outstanding thing, extrovert thing is not working. You know, I should probably go hide under some bush, become low key, Now the time of that realization was, it was senior 3, so I stood for a position, prefect kind of thing at school. So you know when students don't like you, you know, like just go to the ballot, don't vote for me. You know, like it can be that civil. But what happened was we had open air campaigns and I was in the I came to the stage and I hadn't even said my name. I didn't even yet said anything. And there's a group, and this is a school of 4,000 students. So I'm not talking, I'm not talking like hundreds of kids or like a classroom, you know. I'm talking like really big number of students. So I'm there with my confidence, you know, already, you know, to unleash my manifesto and tell people what I'm going to do. And before I even say anything, there's a group of students who start yelling, "Boo! Boo!" with placards, like, you know, like boo, B-O-O on placards, and then they're holding them up, and then they're all shouting. So when they started shouting, now everyone starts shouting, and then they're like, "Boo, boo." Before I knew, papers were flying, papers were flying. I was like, guys. So, like, I first froze for like, I froze for like, I think like 3 minutes. I froze for like 3 minutes. All that happened, I was really just quiet. I was just looking on. Then it toned down. Then I really kept quiet, and then the whole place went silent. Then in like 30 seconds, I had said my name, my manifesto, thank you, and I left the stage. So very embarrassing. So the moment I left the stage, of course, I got my bag, went home. I didn't want to talk to anyone. It was just so bad. So my life changed from that point. And okay, as you can see, I am really back to myself. But for guys who saw me between that time, I think all the way to the time I finished high school. Yeah, all the way till I finished high school. It was just that bad. I started to question. So okay, and it was not that I had a problem, because so many times I asked myself, why would people hate me? You know, all these people, I've never spoken to them, I don't know them.
Why is that hate, you know?
Yes, coming to me.
Yeah.
And for me, I at that point, I just zeroed down on, you know, probably I'm just not meant for these things. You know, I don't think I'm supposed to be in this society. I don't even know why I'm in school. Like so many questions just kept popping. I remember at that time, I completely became isolated from my friends. My friends, you know, they can testify that we stopped being friends. Like they were in their own world, I was in my own world. I would come to school, do books, go home. Do books, go home. Of course, you know, they also came a problem of keeping up an appearance, because I reached a point where, you know, the lively self didn't come naturally, the confidence didn't come naturally. So for people who are used to that Oprah, I had to fake it, you know, and that got me so exhausted. You know, trying to keep up an appearance, trying to keep up that, oh, you're happy to see them, you're sure. You know, so that was a life that I led, and of course all things work together for good, but at that particular point it just took so much out of me. I questioned, I questioned my capability in leadership, in who I am. I questioned who I am, you know, because if you're having 40,000 people tell you you are not good enough,
that hits.
Yeah. What will you tell yourself?
A girl like you, like in secondary,
I tell you,
it hits you down
so much. So I can just say I really just lost completely who I was. Completely who I was. Yeah, and it was something that was emotional. It was something that you could see off of me, and you could tell, you know, for some reason I was always not in a good mood. You know, as never happy, as isolated. You know, there was a point I didn't even have friends. You know, because you know,
I know.
Because I think one thing that really hurt me was because I kept questioning myself. I was like, okay, so if I had let's say a problem, and probably students didn't like something about me, so my friends, like my close friends, you guys could not come and tell me that, Oprah, you're like this, or you're like this, change here. You left me to be embarrassed like that. Even after I was embarrassed, none of them came to me and, you know, probably said, oh, sorry, or it's okay, kids are like that, what. So I shifted the blame to them as well, as like, what kind of friends are these? So I lost friends, and generally like that. I think I don't even want to say I had a support system at that time. I was just
shattered,
going through going through a routine. Wake up, go to school, go back home. Wake up, go to school, you know, and that was it. And when I was home, you know, there are so many things that I question, you know, from who I was to where I'm headed, you know. There's so many things that came into my mind. I started questioning, so does this mean now this is the end for me?
Did mom know about it, or your parents?
Nah, my parents, as in African parents, but
okay.
So a problem, you know. That's why people don't like me, or the way that I was created is not good. And that's, you know, so many questions, you know. So you enter into school and you're seeing everyone, but in your head, you know, you're questioning, you're like, what's happening, what's going on? Yeah.
Oh wow. Personally, by the way, me, the problem I faced a lot was bullying. Now that I've these people wearing my clothes, but I wouldn't do nothing. There was nothing I could do because these guys were secular. Just imagine, because people think, people used to tell us that bullying is things of, things that happen. But present day people still bully people, and take advantage of when maybe somebody is just silent. They try to report, but the warden of the school, I mean, he had this, he didn't help me. I remember one time calling my parents, crying, "You need to change me, you need to change me." Like, Guma, no African parents like to say, "Guma, you need to be there, just change your school." Now you're just crying, man, you need to. But the thing was, it was really so tough for me there. So it's really, it made me feel, I remember, I think even it affected my words because I felt low, I felt small, I felt unworthy, I felt, it put me really, really down. So these things we can't speak. There's always a lot of things that will happen to people that kills their souls, that kill.
Yeah, and I think that we don't get much help because, okay, I don't know for some people, but at least I remember with my experience, because as I told you guys earlier, there was this thing of keeping up an appearance, for the people who knew you. So no one could tell the inner battle I had. No one could tell how I slept or what was going on, because, probably people assumed I was okay or things like that.
Yeah. Like you said, an inner battle. No one can assume, even today. Parents, when parents today, when you tell them, something is really happening, they just imagine maybe, there is a way they put it down that they make it something so small, yet it really affects.
A lot.
It really affects.
Parents assume these things don't happen.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, you're just being so soft.
Somebody say, why don't you get?
and probably they think that's enough, and things like that. Because remember, at that point, really it was just me. It was Oprah, Kalubo, and Blessed. These was all my names, so it was all me.
Anyway, as we conclude this show, I want us to just speak about the healing process.
Yeah.
Me, I'll first of all give mine, and then give yours. Me, I remember in all those experiences, all those dirty things that I went through, I think I've just restored, and God has been just merciful. It's just yet comes. And one of the things that I've really hope because it is just like a journey. Even when you have to finish senior 6, you see a lot of things happening, and you're like, man, this is how life is. But then life becomes rough, and no jobs, and and everything is like,
Yeah.
So I think me personally, what helped, like you say, purpose. Every time you discover, hold on, that one thing that you think, every time you do it, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It gives you joy.
It gives you joy. It satisfies.
Yeah.
Like for example, many people ask me, what do you gain on these things, this podcast? Me, I don't only do these things because of maybe content, but for me, personally, it's purpose. And do you know, I can tell you something that is very surprising. Ever since I started doing this, certain things just died. Like, there was a way my confidence was back.
Yeah.
There was a way depression went.
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of issues with those things of worry.
Yeah.
But ever since I discovered, I think, something I have to do, things changed.
Yeah.
Things changed. I'm no longer a crybaby like I used to be. But it was real. It was real. I was bored.
Yeah.
I was bored by those boys. But if you're a boy, if you're one of those boys, don't worry. I forgive you already. Anyway, your experience as one that, the recovery process of
I think the recovery process came in COVID and in VAC, Form 6 VAC, because there I was now detached from, like, completely. We're not going to school, so you're home. It's you and your thoughts. Even in VAC, it's you and it was me and my thoughts.
Yeah.
So it helped me to put things together. And one thing I advise for anyone who may be going through a process where they just feel like they are not themselves anymore, because there is that thing that tells you you're meant for more, but the surrounding just puts you down. What the advice I would give is that find a way to find time with yourself. Find a way to find time with yourself.
It's very important.
Leave the noises that you hear, all the experiences that you've gone through, because so many times you go through very traumatizing experiences. For me this was mine, but I'm sure there's somebody who has even been through something worse. But I think one of the things that really helps,
something nice, like being checked. For you've not been checked.
Oh no.
You've not been checked. Okay.
So if you find that time and you start speaking to yourself, there are so many things you realize. Because while I was there in COVID and rethinking these things, because I think I had just shoved them under the floor, I had never really gotten time to address them. I had never gotten time to heal from them. I had just put them behind me and moved on with life.
And it does not put the fact that they have gone.
Yes.
They still remain and haunt you.
Yeah, so this was my time to actually deal with them. So so it was COVID, and I remember I sat down and I replayed all these things back into my mind, and I had a piece of paper. I had 2 pieces of paper, and on one side I wrote everything I thought was wrong with me. Everything I thought was like, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, and then I put them there, and then I started thinking through each and every one of them, but not emotionally, but rationally. Like, okay, people have said this, is it really true? is this really who I am? Is this who I am supposed to be? Is this me? You know? And every time I thought of whatever wrong thing, on the other side, there was really something positive, you know? And there is really no one, because as I don't think, there was really no one. And I thought it was me, and I think God, because at that point I was not really like so much into God. But you know, God cares so much. God cares a lot. That even when like you really don't care about it, because I don't think as a church goer, a praying person, rid of the word, no. I just like going through life, like you know. But there is a beauty about God that even when we didn't know Him, even when we didn't, you know, acknowledge Him as God, or you know, even when we're so detached from who He is, He still cares. Yeah, He still loved us. Even for that person who may be thinking that, you know, probably God doesn't care or something.
Those questions really come. Does God really know me? Does God really care? And
the problem is that we're hearing so many voices.
Yeah.
That's why, as I said earlier, find that quiet space with yourself, you know, where you're not in an environment where you're going to hear so many things, you know, and then just focus. Because for me, that's when my healing started. And I think God, even when I didn't know God was helping me, you know, because surely it had been not over 4 years, it had been like 3 years down the road. And 3 years down the road, and I had never thought of these good things about myself, you know. I had never seen the light about myself, you know. But as they are seated, seeing the bad things, thinking about them, and as I thought about them, good things, you know, the questions began to turn, you know. Where it was saying that you are a bad leader, it just pointed me to something else, you know, to scenarios of, okay, look at how you've handled this situation in life, or how you've gone through this in life. Do you actually think you're not a good leader? Or do you think that you're not worthy for more? Don't you see the gifts that you have? Yeah, because that also helped me as like, don't you see the gifts that you have? You know, people complain that, oh, you speak a lot of English, or you speak, you know, more, eloquently than others. But don't you think that's a gift? Don't you think it's something that God has placed within you to do something bigger with it? Yeah. You know, these things of, you know, being excellent. Is it bad to be excellent? In the Bible, they were actually that time. I think it was King Saul. He was looking for a man, and then the Bible says, and David had an excellent spirit upon him. So there are people who look for excellent spirits, you know. Sometimes, because me, I thought probably these things of overachieving are not good, you know. The world will accept you when you're nothing, or when you're mediocre, or when you do, you know. But then I learned that no one will accept you for such things. The people are looking for excellent things, and if you can just grow the excellence in you, you can probably get somewhere. And then I also realized that probably the things that I was not perfect in, because I also realized, because as evaluating myself, I also realized that, okay, probably there were places where I was not doing things right. But then I was like, that's the beauty, because where the problems are, or where the weaknesses are, that is where you find the strength. Where you have doubts, or where you've made mistakes, that's where the testimony is supposed to come from. How will you have a story when nothing happened? You know. So when I was really thinking through that, that's when all the things that seemed bad shifted, and they all became positive. So by the time we were out of COVID, and I think we're getting back into Form 6, sure, I was very different. You know, I started to get myself back. I started to get my energies back. I started to get my mindset back. You know, I started going for things, you know, because at a point, you know, it was just, even my academics really weren't as good as they were supposed to be, you know. But then my school had a lot of co-curricular, like there was a lot you could excel in. You could excel in debate, you could excel in science, you could excel in maths. There was really a lot you could do. So, and me, I had shunned away from all of that, and I was like, you know what, for the sake of my parents and the fees that they put in, let me study. But then while I had that self-evaluation, saying, you know what, let me take the risks, you know. Let me push, let me go, let me see where this is. Guys, we have one life. You want to be there and you cover yourself, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it, you know. It's good knowing you tried, you know, other than living in regret forever.
Wow.
I think that's really what helped me. So when that chapter of my life was done, something just propelled me to keep moving, and it kept growing. It kept going with every venture, with like things just there's a way things just aligned. I don't know how to explain it. That's why I say it is God.
It is God.
Yet I didn't even know him at the time, so
it is God. Thank you so much. It is God indeed. It is God indeed. Thank you so much, Oprah.
welcome.
I've loved the story, and I believe it has inspired some. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, that's what I'm doing. I can tell you now. Keep doing what you're doing, because we are the leaders of the future, and we are the grandfathers of the future generation.
Okay.
that is anyway. That is what I can tell you.
Yeah.
But I would like to thank you so much, everybody that has been watching the show. It has been Oprah and me, Khalid. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been blessed, you just give a like. If you also have a story, believe you also have a story, just go to the comment section. Also put your story. Also want to read your story. Yes, yeah, just go down there, put your. Then if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, it's Healing Hands TV podcast. Of course, there are very many channels there, but this very one, just go subscribe on that channel, then hit the notification button, and every time these stories will keep popping up on your YouTube. May God so much. Until next time.